Okay, I'm back. This is episode 3 of Shadow Run Dragon's Fall. Panda Suite. New it come. Have always been a good judge of character. Since we're meeting in person, I'll formally introduce myself. He nods his head in salute. Blitz, Decker Extraordinaire at your service. Dystopia. The vault is just around the corner. Once we get there, I can unlock it with a few clicks on the keypad. Blitz offers you something between a smile and a smirk. Built myself a back door when I wrote the security system. Never hurts to be careful. Sounds good, let's go. Oh, sorry. Good grenade. Alright, here we go. Tap, tap, tap. Done, wait. When did that thing get installed? Take cover. Ouch. Hej. Ja. Hittar hon inte? Vart kan du ha tappat det?
Det var ett ställe som jag tänkte att jag skulle kunna tappa.
Ja, och vart då?
Och där var när jag tog ur telefonen, hörde och allting från morsans bil.
Okej. Men det var inte...
Men morsan har redan tittat överallt där.
Okej.
Och det är ingenstans.
Nej, okej. Nej, det vet jag inte. Då måste du skaffa ett nytt åt det liksom. Då får typ fråga... Ja, jag vet inte. Jag har inte råd att betala för ett nytt liksom. That's a big fucker. Enraged troll. Oh shit. The drone appears to be broken. All it can seem to do is hover in place. Take the drone. $1,400 and some nitro. That's all he had in it. Check. Hey, thanks for the assist. Can't tell you how happy I am to leave this place behind. No problem. Blitz nods at you. Then abruptly changes the subject. Say, you wouldn't happen to need a Nova Hot Decker, would you? Because I suddenly find myself unemployed. I'm a Decker, so no, I'm afraid not. The position's been filled. Oh, damn. Well, I also have some rigging skills. I can do that too. And I'm pretty handy with the gun, worst case scenario. I'm another warm body to fill the ranks if someone takes a hit. Come on, buddy, let me sign on with you. You won't regret it. Okay, fine. Welcome aboard. Excellent, fantastic. I promise you, you won't regret it. Blitz has joined your team. The Gross Bazaar. Your team makes its way back to the nearest U-Bahn station. 20 minutes later, you're on a return trip to Gross Bazaar, leaving the filth of Drogenkeep behind. But the image of Green Winter's twisted corpse continues to linger in your mind. You lift one of the discs that you pulled from Winter's safe to the light. Reflections dance off its surface. With luck, you'll soon have the answer that you've been looking for. As you lead your team through the shadows, your companions will continue to develop and learn new combat skills. Pressing the icon in the lower right-hand corner of the screen will open the crew advancement menu. When this icon is highlighted, one or more of your companions is eligible to learn a new combat skill. At each advancement level, you may choose one of two possible combat skills for each of your runners. Choose wisely. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I want her as a sniper rifle. Body, range combat, dodge rifle. Compound attack. Gain ability, compound attack. Glory gains a melee attack, a razor slash, followed up by a kick. Pierces up to 1 armor, may do AP damage. Cost 1 AP, cooldown 2. Body quickness, range combat, close combat, thrown weapons, biotech, dodge, pistol, unarmed. Yeah, well, she gained a fuck of a lot of skills. Dietrich's Electro Core spell now strips 1 armor from affected targets. Blitz looks up at your approach. The table beside him is littered with cigarette butts, and a data jack cable dangles from a portable terminal set up by his side. Hey, Chief, you need something? Just checking in. You doing all right? His smile widens. Great, Chief. I'm doing just great. It's really nice to be able to wind down and relax for a change. No more worrying about this ganger or that ganger sneaking behind me and slipping a knife between my ribs. He slaps the table with a grin. It's a good change, Chief, I've got to say. Good, then you can focus on getting our current job done. Dystopia, come on. He gestures at himself with a flourish. Blitz is always 100% focused. Any thoughts about that last run that you'd like to share? Well, Chief, I wasn't around for most of it, but you got me out of the hotel, and for that, you've got my eternal thanks. Now that you're all settled in, I've got some questions for you. Blitz glances wistfully back at the terminal on the table, then turns back with a sigh of resignation. I suppose, but try to keep it short, okay, Chief? I've got things to do. How long were you in Dragon Keep? I ended up there after the anarchist revolution of '39. I was just a kid back then, too young to realize how good I was, how much money I could have made working in the shadows. He shakes his head, a wistful expression on his face, and so, being young and dumb, I fell in with the gang crowd, and that was that. You were a member of a drug gang. Why should I trust you? Why wouldn't you, Chief? I mean, just look at me. He does his best to give you a winning smile. I'm a trustworthy guy. Prove it. Tell me about the gang that you ran with. Well, I don't know all that much, Chief. I wasn't a member of gang leadership or anything. I'm not really sure why you care either. Consider it a test. I need to know where your loyalties lie. He rolls his eyes. If that's what it'll take for you to trust me, fine. Anything for you, Chief? Well, where to begin? When I first arrived at Dragon Keep, I spent some time taking in the lay of the land. The Schwarzhersen were still a pretty small gang. Strictly street level, but I could see they were going places. I did a little pro bono decking for the leader, a fat little dwarf named Dieter. Soon enough, I was part of the family. For a drug gang, the Schwarzhersen were decent enough folk. I made a lot of money with them, helped them take the hotel in the first place. We had a lot of good years there. Then Dieter was killed in a firefight, and our happy little family fell apart. Was that when the hotel got attacked? Blitz takes a deep breath, shifts his weight from one foot to another. Not exactly. The Schwarzhersen maintained their hold on Dragon Keep, but the change of leadership was bad news for me. After Dieter kicked the bucket, his second-in-command took over. She was a real piece of work, called herself Leonie Luster. She had a vicious streak a mile long, and she was none too fond of me. Did she turn on you? Immediately. I don't know why. Maybe she felt threatened by my friendship with Dieter, back before he ate that bullet. Or maybe she was just jealous of my rugged good looks. Who the hell knows? The point is, she went after me, vigorously. Within 24 hours of Dieter's death, I had a price on my head, and then the hotel got taken over. So that's what you need to know about the Schwarzhersen. They were a great gang, a powerful gang. I helped them make them that way. Then they had a management turnover, and everything went to hell. Blitz rocks back on his feet, his hand in his pocket. That's it, end of story. Anything else you want to talk about? Intelligence 2, wait a second. That isn't it. There are some pretty big holes in that story. Come on, Chief, this is all ancient history. Wouldn't you rather talk about the future? The runs we're gonna go on, all the money we're gonna make. Blitz, tell me what happened between Luster putting the price in your head and the hotel getting attacked. Alright, Chief, fine, if that's what it takes to make you happy. Oh, God damn it. So I was in a bind, right? The members of Schwarzhersen, who were loyal to Luster, were all out for my blood, and none of the others were gonna stick their necks out for me. The advantage of being a ganger is protection in numbers. When those numbers turns against you, you've got to get creative if you want to stay alive. What did you do? Blitz taps the plastic on his data jack. What I had to. Luster had a cold war on me, so I retaliated, and I won, all without ever firing a shot. That's not an answer. Blitz sighs. You won't be satisfied until I spell it out, will you? Okay, fine. I hacked into Luster's computer and sent all of her information to a rival organization. Remember Frank from the hotel? He was my liaison. They hit the Schwarzhersen, and they hit them hard. Then they took the hotel, and then they took me. I'll admit that the plan backfired a little. You did what you had to in your place. I'd probably have done the same. Blitz let out a sigh of relief. Thanks, Chief. I knew you'd understand. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to what I was doing. He gives you a lazy salute. We'll talk later, I'm sure. And Chief, I'm glad to be a member of the team. You look down to see a pair of bright eyes set into a scruffy face, looking back up at you. Dante, Monica's old dog. Looking down into those huge brown eyes, you see intelligence and sadness. On some instinctive level, he must know that his master is gone. Dante lets out a small whine, then rubs his head against your leg. Pet him. Woof. Hey, Hey boss, Dietrich gives you a slight nod. What can I do for you? How are you holding up? You seemed to take Monica's death harder than the others did. Dietrich shakes his head, a wistful expression on his face. Nah, not harder, but I'm less buttoned up than the others are. Eager'll never let herself show any weakness and glory, while she's too full of chrome to feel much of anything. He shrugs. Me, I don't give a damn. I've spent too much of my life putting on a show for others already. What do you mean by that? I used to front a punk band way back when. Believe it or not, I've spent a pretty good chunk of my life on stage. Whenever we weren't playing, I was living up to our fans' expectations, spouting off, getting into fights, getting drunk, getting laid. Not a bad life, all things considered. Wait a second, you can sing? He regards you with a critical eye. I was the frontman for a punk band, boss. Fuck no, I can't sing. He grins. But I wasn't half bad at riling up a crowd. What was your band called? Maybe I've heard of it. Oh, I doubt it, boss. We never really got in any airplay. Since when did airplay have anything to do with good music? Fair point, boss. All right. I'll tell you. The band was called Messerkampf. Spelled just like it sounds, in big capital letters with an exclamation point. We weren't a big act or anything. We sold a few records here and there, toured around Europe. Same story you'll hear from a bunch of other washed up old relics, I'm sure. We had a decent following in England, and we holed up in London from 31 to 36. Spent most of our time slumming it around the East End, and picked up enough cockney to irritate the folks back home. He shakes his head. Truth be told, the whole chapter of my life is a bit of a blur. We didn't do it for the fans or the fame, and we sure as shit didn't care about money. All that mattered to us was staying young and drunk and angry. He takes a moment to examine his gnarled hands, a sad smile on his face. We managed the second two. Good God, where has the time gone? Dietrich shakes himself from his reverie and looks back up at you. That familiar, easy grin returned to his face. Well, anyway, boss, everything ends eventually, and I washed my hands of all this years ago, so let's change the subject, if you don't mind. How did you go from fronting a band to running the Shadows? Wasn't as big a leap as you'd think. I already had a healthy disrespect for authority, and I had the magic to back it up. One other thing about shamanism. As long as you keep your idol happy, it doesn't matter what else you do. The Dragon Slayer chose me to be a servant, and as long as I was scrapping with someone bigger than me, he didn't much care whether I did it on stage or in the shadows. Tell me about the Dragon Slayer. He shrugs. Not much to tell. He chose me when I was just a kid. I could always feel him in my heart, goading me to laugh louder, hit harder, and get rowdier than the rest. Of course, my family didn't understand, but hell with them, I thought. I knew that I was destined for greater things. So I listened to him, and I cracked the skulls of a lot of bad people. He saw this, and was pleased, and rewarded me with magic. And I used that magic to craft bigger, thicker skulls, and so on. He shrugs. It's a simple life, but a good one. Any thoughts about the last run you'd like to share? Well, we found Winters. That's something, I guess. This whole thing has me feeling uneasy, boss. But at least we have a direction to look in. So long, Dietrich. Take it easy, boss. Iger turns to face you. There is a pained look on her face. Look, I owe an apology. I'm listening. When Monica died, I was pissed. That probably doesn't come as a huge surprise, but I took that anger out on you, and I shouldn't have. Seeing Winter's body like that was enough to convince me. You couldn't have done anything to help Monica, and I couldn't have either. We're dealing with something new. Monica was a good friend of mine. Her death hurt. I got carried away, and I said some things that I shouldn't have. I want to apologize for that. Her body relaxes. She begins to turn away. Anyway, that's all that I wanted to say. There are a few things that I want to say. She stops and turns back to face you. You can see the awareness behind her eyes. Go ahead, nobody's stopping you. I accept your apology, but if you ever insult me in front of the team again, you're going to regret it. That's a promise. She nods appreciatively. Some backbone, that's good to see. Don't worry, Dystopia. I won't question your competence again. Not in front of the others, at least. Well, but I won't lie. I still have concerns about you. What kind of concerns? Basic ones. I don't want to see history repeat itself. What history are you talking about? I'd rather not go into it, fearless leader. Let's just say that I've had bad luck with underexperienced teammates, and leave it at that. She turns away. You should go, fearless leader. I've got prep work to do for our next run, and you've got more important things to do than watch me pack my gear. Dystopia, what do you need? Hey Glory, how are you holding up? Don't worry about me, I'm solid. You sure? You look like you're a million miles away. I'll be honest with you, when it counts. I'll be with you when it counts. Right now it doesn't. I have questions for you, Gloria, of the personal kind. I'm not big on sharing, sport. Personal reasons, you understand, I'm sure. The edge in her voice tells you that she's not interested in continuing this conversation. Sure, I understand, but I still need to talk to you. Glory lets out a weary sigh. Ask your questions, but do it quickly. I have things to do. You can't have started running the shadows much more than 5 years ago, tops. So what's with the vintage chrome? It was cheap, it gets the job done. She shrugs. End of discussion. I don't think so. I've known a lot of street Sams in my days. But I never met anyone who'd voluntarily install cyberware that old. You're right, there is more to it than I'm letting on, but I'm not interested in talking about it. I can't help but notice that you seem guarded, withdrawn. That's my problem, and none of your concern. If whatever happened to you has impaired your ability to trust me, then it is my concern. Come on, Glory, talk to me. Trust is earned, and I don't know you yet. Maybe later, when we get to know one another better, we can talk. For now, I prefer if you dropped it. That's all that I need to know. Fine with me. Anything else that you need? I'll talk to you later. She shrugs. Suit yourself. The workstation and mission computer, the command center of your team's operation, and the last link to the memory of Meneke Schaefer. I've already... Check your inbox for new messages. Open the jobs directory. You all pending and active jobs. As to the Shadowlands BBS. Post payment for data. Or for sale. Claim payment for sold paid data. Antiquities delivery schedule. Winning bid 550. That was not a lot. Amsel's expression is harder than you've seen it before. When he speaks, his voice is grim. Agar has told me of Green Winter's death. She said that he died in the same manner that Monica died. It wasn't a pretty sight. Amsel nods gravely. I know that you and Iger have had your differences. I will tell you that she was badly shaken by the sight of Winter's body. She also mentioned that you found something in Winter's safe, a package full of very old discs. May I see them? Hand over the discs, of course. Good God. Gingerly, Amsel lifts a disc from the bundle and holds it to the light. Slowly, he begins to turn it in his hand, causing rainbow patterns to shimmer across its surface. I haven't seen one of these since I was a boy. This is a DVD-RV, a data storage medium from the mid-2000s. I'm amazed that Winters was able to find a device that could play it. Do you know how we can read these things? He puts down the DVD in his hand and quickly inspects the others. The first disc that I looked at might be readable, the others are damaged, some severely so. I have my doubts about them. For now, let's concentrate on the undamaged disc. There is a little shop outside the Data Haven. Talk to the proprietor, Malit Holier. She might be able to help you. Tell her to put the cost of the device on my account. I'm on it. Welcome back. What can I do for you? Item, broken drone. I acquired this drone. Can you get it up and running again? Yeah, probably. It might take a bit of doing, though. I love working on these old corp drones. Can't make any guarantees, but either way, it's on the house. I'll leave it in your hands. I'll start on it right now. See you later. Hang on a second. There was something else that I wanted to talk to you about. I'm looking for something that can play back a DVD-RV. Really, that is old tech, very old in fact. Just a moment, I will go look. She turns to rummage through a bin of obsolete components at the back of her stall. Ah yes, here we are. The dwarf wrestles a mid-sized flat screen display out of a bin. This display has old enough hookups to connect to a DVD player. RCA, you know, vintage. The player itself, though, this I do not have. You may wish to try your luck down at the junkyard. There is a scavenger there, a primitive man with a crude disposition. If anyone here in the Kraus Bazaar can help you find your DVD player, he can. But he will almost certainly attempt to overcharge you for it. She takes a deep breath and smiles up at you. But you are not here for gossip. Shall we conclude our business? I should give you the display for, say, 200 yen. Paul Amsel said to charge it to his account. Very well. I will have it packaged up and delivered to Herr Amsel straight away. Best of luck finding your DVD reader. I wish you well. She tips an invisible hat. Hey there, remember me from the cafe? Name's Cammy. Are you looking for something? Depends. Is there anything I should be looking for? She titters. Volunteering information. That's bad for business. Unless Alto wants me to tell you something, but that's rare. I'm just his ears and hands outside of the cafe. He's got enough of a voice all by himself. He doesn't seem to be afraid to use it either. Not in the slightest. Since you've just moved here, I have some advice. If you haven't guessed already, he's got fingers in a lot of pies. I've seen what happens when he doesn't approve of someone or something. Pissing him off can't be worth it, and at the very least, you won't be able to get good coffee in this town again. She grins cheekily. So what's the story between you and Alto? She grins a wicked, winks lasciviously at you. Oh, surely you've guessed. You're not serious. She laughs. I can't pull a fast one on you, can I? Well, I'll tell you the real story sometime. How about that? Right now, though, I have some errands to run. Come over sometimes and we can chat over hookah or something, yeah? She lazily tips an invisible hat at you before turning her focus to the camera at her wrist. A stout old man looks up from whatever old tech he's tinkering with to squint at you through thick old-fashioned glasses. He pushes them up with an oil-stained finger as he straightens up to nod at you. He speaks with a gruff but well-meaning tone, heavily accented with German tonality. Guten Tag, what can I do for you? Mallet tells me you're the man to speak to about DVDs. To that little shrew sent you my way, huh? Shruti smiles broadens. Will wonders never cease. Well, introductions are in order, I suppose. Shruti Bushman, at your service. The old man raises a grimy hand in salute. Need something salvaged, some old components, Weilacht. I'm indeed your man. Wonderful. How about that DVD player? Well, let's see. I think that I've got something that'll work for you. Shruti rummages through the junk heaped on the table behind him. A few seconds later, he snatches a battered plastic lozenge shape from the pile. Ah, here we go. An old Korean player that I dug up last week. 2010 model, a real beauty. Shruti smile broadens, and he gives you a conspiratorial wink. I fixed her up and got her running, but without any disc to read. I've mostly been using her as a paperweight. Sounds like what I'm looking for. How much do you want for it? Shruti glances back at the DVD player, a rueful expression on his face. Well, I'll admit, I'm a little loath to part with her. There are plenty of folks out there who'd really appreciate an older player such as this, and I don't know what your intentions are for it. I suppose, give the time and trouble I took putting her together, that I'd be willing to part with her for, oh say. Shruti eyes dart over your gear, a calculated expression on his face. About 500 yen. I'm short of cash right now. Could I offer you something in trade? The old man pauses for a moment, considering. I'll tell you what, a few months ago, I had a, well, call it a difference of opinion with that Buruk-Gassi fellow from the soy calf shop. He hasn't let me into his establishment since, and I'd sell my mother for a decent cup of coffee. If you get me a cup of Turkish coffee, the real stuff, not that fake junk, and I'll give you the DVD player. Sounds like a deal? Deal. the question is what I will have to do to get that Turkish coffee. Clean the toilets or something. The Turk leans into you, keeps his voice low. I have information regarding the matter my people are looking into. Effendim, the one involving the surveillance device on my data tap. Altu, I have been waiting for my coffee for nearly an hour already. Are you growing the beans out there? The coffee vendor shouts. Can't you see that I'm speaking to an honored guest? You tower of quivering corpulence. His voice lowers again. Now then, as I was saying, we were fortunate that you happened upon that surveillance tap when you did. The people on the other end were planning a very bad thing, to be sure. Very bad thing? Quite bad, yes. Monica Schaefer was an important member of this community, more than most were aware of. This Keys was under her protection. You know how it is in the flux, Effendim. The governance of a place like this is tenuous at best. You never know who's going to be in charge from one day to the next. But Monica was a stabilizing force, and not just because she was dangerous. She was smart and funny and wise. She had a way with people. They wanted to support her, to follow her, because they loved her. When she was killed, it left an opening for others. It would have meant bloodshed and pain if this council had been allowed to continue their plan, but they did not. We saw to it, you and I. Indeed we did, Altu. The Kraus Bazaar will maintain its stability a while longer, thanks to us, my friend. Now, what can I do for you, Effendim? Would you like some coffee, perhaps? Coffee, as in real coffee, not soy calf? Yes, for individuals of refined taste, I offer genuine bean coffee from my native Turkey. The cafe owner looks you in the eye. The tone in his voice grows low and serious. This is top-shelf item, my friend, and not for the general public. Only for those few discerning connoisseurs who can properly appreciate it. I think I'm the sort who can appreciate it. Tell me about the Turkish coffee. It is handpicked by my family in Turkey, a true delicacy of the Sixth World. This was considered a luxury even before the awakening, when bean coffee was everywhere. Every street corner, they say. Burgazi leans in closer, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. Long hours in the shop have perfumed his body with the commingled scents of coffee, incense, and applewood tobacco. Trust me, if your coffee experience has been limited to soy calf, you must not deny yourself this opportunity. You will see God. Alright, just hold me. How much? This is a special item, delivered at some cost. I cannot part with it for less than 15 yen a cup. Vediman, deal. Very good. Burakazi hands you a ceramic travel cup, which he then fills to the brim with dark, steaming liquid. The scent is intoxicating. Is there anything more than I can get you? Just killing time. I'll be going now. I'm back from my DVD player. Well, it ain't yours yet, but I've got it right here. Been keeping it warm for you. Now you got my coffee, or do you have the 500 yen? Hand him the coffee. I got that coffee for you. Ah, thank you. Shoti gratefully accepts the coffee, then snaps the lid back and inhales deeply, wiggling his mustache as he processes the scent. Yep, that's the real stuff, all right. Shoti gingerly picks up the ancient device from the table and presses it into your hands. The plastic is scuffed and worn, and it rattles a bit when you move it. Give her some good use, okay? I have cash and I need weapons. Show me the goods. Launcher, grenade launcher. A classic tube-fired grenade launcher. Yeah, give me some of that. A basic assault rifle that is surprisingly good. Yeah, I got a sniper on my team, so I'll stick to multi-shot. Secure Tech's armored clothing line. Kevlar is woven into the fabric, providing protection from most small arms, grants plus 5 HP. So I have a frag grenade. I should get a flashbang. The med clinic done. At the sound of your approach, the orc turns to face you. He wears a severe expression, but there is kindness in his eyes. Ah, hello, human. As you can see, I'm in the middle of a conversation with my assistant. The volunteer worker holds her silence, but her expression is full of naked hostility. Samuel gives her a sidelong glance, and she seems to get the message. The fire in her eyes dies down to a low simmer. But we do not want to be impolite. Is there something that I can do for you? I couldn't help overhearing your conversation. I take it that you run a charity of some sort. He nods. Yes, it isn't much, but we do what we can. Such as, give me a specific. He clears his throat and begins to count off his fingers. In the past several years, I have established a shelter where the dispossessed can sleep, a soup kitchen to feed the hungry, and a library for the people of Krausen Bazaar to better themselves. It isn't much, I admit, but it's a start. A good start, Samuel. You mustn't be so hard on yourself. There are limits to what one man can do. Even a determined man can accomplish. This is true. He nods to the work at his side. Thankfully, some of the residents that I've helped over the years have come back around to help me. I've got 15 assorted orcs and trolls from all around the Krausen Bazaar working with me now. They help me man the soup line, stock the library shelves, and do all of the hundreds of other little things that a community organization needs done every day. These extraordinary individuals are living proof that what we do here has value. They are my inspiration to continue forward. She beams at the compliment. From her body language, it's clear that she idolizes Beckenbauer. Now, do you have any more questions? If not, I'll bid you a good day. I don't wish to sound self-important or rude, but there are many pressing matters that demand my time. Does that mean 15 assorted orcs and trolls? Does that mean that the other races aren't welcome within your organization? That's taking a rather narrow view of what we do. Yes, it is true that my assistants are all members of the goblinoid races. It is also true that before they accepted my help, they were thieves, gangers, and deadbeats. This is not because they were bad people. This is because those of us with goblinoid traits are feared, mistreated, and denied gainful employment by a society that hates us. I hire only goblinoids because mainstream human society has created a need for me to hire only goblinoids. The orcs and trolls of the Krausen Bazaar deserve a workplace where they will be treated with dignity and respect. All that being said, our services are available to all. We wouldn't turn a desperate person away, regardless of that person's metatype. Even humans, the most privileged of all races, are welcome at our door. Isn't that what's most important? It is. I agree with what you're doing here. You're feeling a vital need in the community. He nods slightly. Thank you for saying so. Now, is there something else that you'd like to talk about? I'd like to talk to you about your organization. Are you accepting donations? Yes, of course. We're already desperate for them, truth be told. People seem more intent on taking care of themselves than they are in providing for the less fortunate. Of course, these concepts are not unrelated. As poverty rates increase, so does the crime rate. Assisting the needy increases the quality of life for all. In any event, our shelter has some basic needs that desperately need to be filled. The walls of the shelter are not insulated, and new blankets would go a long way towards keeping our guests healthy and comfortable. Ideally, we'd like to purchase some space heaters as well. With 215 yen, we could make the purchase. Whatever you could spare would be most appreciated. Here, just take what you need. I've got you covered. Samuel's eyes widen. This is incredibly generous. Thank you, my friend. Not a big deal, Sam. Do good with it. With this donation, we have reached our first goal. Thank you so much for your kind assistance. I will put your contributions to work stocking the shelter with blankets and heaters. Not a problem. Please do not downplay your contribution. You have shown kindness at a time when few others will. That means something. It means a great deal. Let's talk about something else. No questions, just passing by. The girl with the chip in her head stands with her eyes closed, rocking back and forth. She looks so frail that the light breeze might knock her over, but she somehow stays on her feet. Whether by coincidence or some kind of preternatural junkie awareness, she opens her eyes when you come near. I know you. Maybe by face, if not by name. I'm Dystopia. By face, by name, by cry or by song. Simi Kim is what most people call me. They think I don't know why, but I do. Monica explained. So what have you been up to? The girl absently fingers the shipjack in her temple. I wanted to escape with the children and the captain. We had to get away from the soldiers out of Austria. But it was all wrong, all wrong. I was taking them over the mountains, but it was the wrong way. I know it was. It would have taken us straight into Germany, not Switzerland. We should have taken the train, gone to Italy. There we would have been safe. I didn't want it to end badly, so I turned it off. Zack told me something new in it. I feel strong. I have a son, and he's destined to save the world. I have to protect him, because the machines have come back to kill him before he can become a man. Oh, really? No. I won't let that happen, because in there I am strong. Though Kimmy's words are bold, her trembling voice and body betrays someone aching for a fix. How do you feel about Monica's death? Kim hugs her arms close to her body. Sad. She never got to have a family. She'll never get married, never be a mother. Seems she was a mother to the whole Kraus Bazaar. Kim nods her head almost dumbly, her eyes unfocused on the ground. Monica said a mother is always a mother, always. She hugs herself tighter and stares blankly at the ground. I'll catch you up with you another time. Der Weinkeller. A young woman stands at the bar, smoking a cigarette. You've seen her face before. Lucky Strike, one of the mercenaries from Monica's files. A plume of blue-gray smoke spills from the corner of her mouth as she turns her attention to you. Hey, the distinctive circuit pattern tattoos that line her face shimmer and pulse with light. You need something? I don't believe we've met. I'm Dystopia. Yeah, I know who you are. She takes a drag on her cigarette. How are you holding up, champ? I heard what happened to your boss. It happens. Running in the shadows is dangerous line of work. She smirks, then lets the smoke escape from the corner of her mouth. Don't I know it? So you need something, or are you just going to stand there, staring? Why do you bring up Monica? Did you know her? I met her a couple of times. Seemed nice enough. She takes another drag on her cigarette, but I mostly knew her by reputation. You can't live in these keys without hearing about the Queen of the Kraus Bazaar. She pauses, then slowly lets the smoke escape through her nostrils. Can't say that I was a fan. Well there, Monica didn't control the Kraus Bazaar, didn't she? She locks eyes with you. Then why did the place start falling apart the second that she got geeked? She takes another drag on her cigarette. The smoke spills out of her mouth as she speaks. Either Monica controlled the Kraus Bazaar, or she had her finger in so many pies that she might as well have. Come out the same thing either way. Lucky Strike taps out her cigarette and leans towards you, predatory grin on her face. You and your friends, you followed Monica, too. Obeyed her orders without question, right? That's generally how a team works, yes. I've got a news flash for you, friend. Here in Berlin, teams don't have leaders. The very idea of team leader runs counter to the spirit of this place. For such a rabid anarchist, your friend seemed awfully comfortable being in power. Kind of a contradiction in turn, don't you think? Yes, actually, all your points are valid. She blinks. Huh, I've got to admit, I wasn't expecting that. She was your friend after all, and you're following right along in your footsteps. I don't put my friends on pedestals. Monica made mistakes, just like the rest of us do. I'm not following in anybody's footsteps. I do what needs to be done, and if others choose to follow me, well, that's their decision. There's a long pause. Finally, she shrugs. Fair enough, I suppose, but a word of advice. Don't take too much on yourself. Spread the responsibility around. Good of you to care. She turns away. I don't. But in a place like this, stacking too much power on any one person is dangerous. Not just for that person, but for everybody. The last thing that we need is for you to eat a bullet, and for this whole place to fall apart again. Where's the clinic? There's the clinic. I found this schematic. Think you can hook me up with this chrome? Very nice. The design appears to be simple enough. Yes, I should be able to provide you with this. It won't be cheap, though. I need medical supplies. I've got a formula for a combat stim. Can you produce something like that? Oh, you know I'm your man. I can hook you up right now. What's with the bandages in your hands? Sax snorts out a short burst of laughter. He waggles his bandaged hands in front of you. Oh, this, nothing much, Hammer, nothing much. Tasseled with the spirit back in Amsterdam. You know, we elves are a very spiritual people. For the spirit with your bare hands. Did I say fought? Sack winks at you. His smile twisting up into a licentious smirk. You can't help noticing that his eyelashes appear to be dusted with glitter. Nah, Chamber, Sack Flash is a lover, not a fighter. We party, then we tussle. Hard not to get banged up under the circumstances. That's my cue to leave. Catch you later, Sack. Sack shrugs, then slowly raises his right hand and waggles his finger. Tools. Show me what you got. Extremely easy to get stuck on shit. The old troll putters about, his artificial joints complaining loudly. He seems heavier today than when you first met, and he takes your approach as reason to seat himself and rest. I understand they put you in charge of Monica's outfit. Looks like we're both carrying heavy burdens. Ha, I suppose so. We'll see what gives out first, your will or my plastic knees. Need something from me. How are the people handling the loss of Monica? I think most are still in shock, but just you wait. That'll pass, and then panic sets in. Few folks of any few folks of any real discipline around here. Monica kept them calm by keeping them safe. Now that she's gone, they're going to start realizing that what a heap of misery this blasted city can be. And what about you? How are you feeling? Exhausted by the prospect of change, damn death state. Really doesn't matter that much to me, but to the rest is going to be a different story. Monica kept this place in one piece. She read the flux like a bird reads the wind or a fish reads the current. Without her, there's no telling what's going to happen. Anything else you want to jaw about? No, didn't mean to bother you. I need some tech. Be back. I need to get a drink. seems that Amsel has assembled the team in your absence. They stand in a group around the old display that you had Mallet deliver. On their faces, you can see excitement and apprehension, curiosity and dread. Dystopia, have you procured a DVD reader? Hand Amsel the DVD player. I have it right here. Good. This should only take a moment. Amsel disappears behind the ancient display. After a few minutes of fiddling with its battered inputs, he reappears. A satisfied look on his face. Everything appears to be functional. The disc should be ready to play. Well, don't keep us in suspense. Start the damn thing already. Dystopia went to the trouble of fetching everything. Let him do the honors. Amsel steps back, clearing a path for you to access the antique machine. A soft whirring sound fills the air as the ancient DVD player spins the disc up to speed. The scratched LCD display comes to life and the menu fills the screen. Play track 1. The screen goes black and a cheerful digital shimming sound spills out of the display speakers. A crackle of static fills the air, coupled with a shrill electronic whine. After a few moments, the display goes live and a disheveled-looking man appears on the screen. His eyes glitter with excitement. The timestamp on the screen is 2034-09-15. Hermie, I think we've found her after all this time. Fauerswing. I knew that she wasn't dead. His speech is jittery. You can hear the urgency in his voice. She survived the dragonfall, just as I've always said. I knew it, and I was right. The screen explodes in static, and the electronic whine in the background sharpens into a needle-like pulse of high-pitched sounds. Somewhere in the background, Dante lets out a low whimper. The screen clears, and the excited face is closer to the screen than it was before. The words spill out of him in a breathless tide. Taking a team into the SOX to retrieve her. The radiation be damned. We will take appropriate precautions, of course, but we must go. Hermie, I think that the body may be nearby as well. Somehow she has survived for all of this time. The screen explodes into static again, then clears. The figure flickers across the screen. May not be back for some time. Look after Mama, okay? I worry about her. And Hermie, stay safe up there. I know that things are heating up in Berlin, and I know you. Student protests. Civil uprising. You'll be in the middle of it, I'm sure. Just stay safe, alright? And I'll do my best to do the same. I don't know what's going to happen when I step into the SOX, but I do know one thing. If the Firewing is still a danger, I will put an end to her, once and for all. The display goes black, and the background whine fades away. A moment later, you find yourself deposited back on the menu screen. Hey, Ulvin! How's it going, buddy? Play track 2. The screen goes black for a moment. Then a figure appears on the screen. Your late client, Green Winters. His elbow is planted on the table that he's seated at, and his chin rests on his palm. The other hand is wrapped around a bottle of cheap whiskey. The timestamp on the video reads 20:53:12:25. Yeah, I'm all good. A bit tired, so I'm sitting here trying to keep awake until I can go to sleep at the proper time. I tried resting, but I just fell asleep all the time, so I'm sitting here. I should edit videos, but yeah, about that. I'm an expert at pushing things to the last second. Found the message Adrian left me all those years ago. Got it cleaned up as best I could. Strange hearing his voice again. He pauses to take a long pull on the bottle. It's good to hear him, even if he did insist on calling me Hermie. Dr. Adrian Roclair, the hero of the people, the Dragon Slayer, my brother. He grimaces and rubs his eyes. Hard to believe it's been almost 20 years. Alright, so I'm gonna start recording these DVDs again. For me, for Adrian, for whoever might wind up watching them. Every time I do this, it winds up feeling like a waste of time. But I keep doing it anyway, on the off chance that I'll find something important. If I stumble into the clue that leads me to my brother, I know that I'm gonna want it on film. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, after all. No sense in quitting now. Christ, 20 years, all this time, and still no leads. even with all of my contacts and my resources. It takes another long swallow of cheap liquor. Even with my legendary bullheadedness, I've made no progress at all. I haven't turned up a single goddamn thing. Wanna hear something funny? The closest I've gotten to a clue was a rumor. Apparently, a team emerged from the SOX a while back. Nobody's clear on the date, but, and get this, he leans in on the camera and gives a conspiratorial wink. Supposedly, they vanished without a trace. He upends the bottle, drains it, slams it back down the table. His eyes are rimmed with red. Not much of a rumor, considering. I already know that you're gone, big brother. I live with that every day. There is a grinding sound from the DVD tray, and Green Winter's image appears on the screen. There is an eager look on his face. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-1012. Stumbled upon this archival footage of Fauerswing's original attack, months before the Dragonfall. Easy to forget how devastating it was. Adrian saved a lot of people by bringing her down. I've got the footage all queued up to play, starting it now. Additional comments to follow. The slow whir of the DVD player shifts to a high-pitched whine. A distorted, wavering image blooms into being on the screen. A timestamp in the upper right corner of the screen marks the date, July 6, 2012. It's difficult to make out what you're seeing at first. The scene is dark and smoky, and the telltale flashes of emergency vehicle lights flicker on the periphery of the screen. The camera pushes in, and you can make out two figures standing in a ruined landscape. All at once, the sound cuts in. Again, for those of you just joining us, we are coming to you live from Stolberg. A few hours ago, the Dragon Fauerswing launched an unprovoked attack on this sleepy horse mountain town. And you can see the result behind me, fire, ashes and blood. We are joined tonight by a survivor of this attack, and most horrifying attack. The reporter turns to face a pale man standing behind him. Sir, I understand that you've been through a terrible ordeal. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us tonight. The camera switches focus to a middle-aged man with a haunted look in his eyes. He stammers out the reply. Yes, of course. If you could, sir, could you please tell the people at home about your experience of the attack? It was horrible, just pure chaos. So many people are dead, people I knew, roasted alive or trampled to death trying to escape. My own house was burned to the ground during the attack. My family, we have nothing now. You all made it through the attack though, your wives, your kids. Your wife and your kids. Yeah, we all made it, thank God. We rolled out the attack in a small shelter, me, my wife and our two daughters. The shelter, it protected us, but the heat was just unbearable. We couldn't have stayed in there much longer than we did. How long were you holed up in there? 3, maybe 4 hours, I don't know. We just stayed inside until the heat died down and the screaming stopped. And what happened after that? When it was over, when the air cooled down, the reporter nods and the man continues. We stepped outside. There was nothing left, just smoldering wreckage and this dense cloud of black, oily smoke. And the stench in the air. God, that smell. It smelled like roasting meat. There's a long pause. From the tortured look on his face, you can tell that the man is struggling to decide whether or not to continue speaking. Eventually, he does. My girls, they found what was left of their nanny outside. Her body, what was left of it, was slumped against the shelter door. I keep telling myself that I couldn't hear her pounding to get in, but that isn't true. I could. I just couldn't bring myself to open the door. I couldn't risk my family like that. Not for her, not for anyone. Thank you, sir, for taking time to speak with us. Yeah, you heard it here. An absolute chilling account of tonight's attack. Again, the town of Stolberg has been reduced to ash, another victim of the Firewing. Stay with us for more up-to-the-minute reporting on Fauerswing's reign of terror. Green Winter's face reappears on the screen. Okay, it's time for a new approach. Adrian's a complete dead end. That much is pretty clear by now. So I'm gonna do some digging on Fauerswing instead. Let's see where this goes. The screen abruptly goes black as the video cuts off. A few moments later, you find yourself returned to the menu screen. Play track 4. The DVD player ramps up the speed, filling the air with a shrill whining sound. Green Winter's image appears on the screen. The timestamp of the video reads 2054-1031. Well, that was a bust. Little progress on Fauerswing either. He shakes his head. I don't know, it's weird. The information is there. It's just wrong somehow. It's too well laid out, too simple. Real life is messy, and this feels just a little too neat. That's not the only thing that's nagging at me. I'm getting that tingly feeling all up and down the back of my neck again. It feels like I'm being tracked. I'm no Matrix hotshot, like Clockwork or Schaefer, but I'm good enough to know when someone's on my scent. Gotta install some new security measures. Can't be too careful. Winter's image disappears. The display goes black. A few seconds later, the main menu returns. Play track 5. The display goes blank for a moment. Then the face of Green Winters winks into the screen. He is seated at the computer. Off to his left, an enormous monitor fills the screen. His voice carries on the edge of panic. The timestamp on the video reads 20:54:11:09. Christ, I'm getting too close to something. There's a trail of bodies, and there have been disappearances. Gearbox, Martian, Peregrine. They've all disappeared within the past few years. Gearbox just went AWOL yesterday, and they were all making the same sort of inquiries about the Firewing that I've been. There are ghost stories spreading around the Decker community, stories about Deckers disappearing and then showing up again later, but wrong somehow. Scary stuff, and I'm starting to think that it's true. Blitz leans in to whisper to you. I know the stories he's talking about, Chief. Never really put much stock on them. Not until now. Could these rumors be related to what's happening here? Am I being paranoid? He pauses for a moment, as if seriously considering the question. Then he shakes his head and slams his fist on the table. No, I don't think so. Something big is happening here, and I'm right in the middle of it. Iger cuts in. That's a bit of a leap. One other thing. Tolstoy told me a story about a kill team that might be related to all of this. Apparently, a Decker named Hellbor posted a theory about Fauerswing to the Shadowlands BBS about 5 years ago. About an hour later, a mil-spec team showed up in Meatspace and cooked her entire apartment with her in it. If what Tolstoy told me was true, Hellbor live posted the event. She described her killers, this great big orc with skin grafts. Then the whole thread disappears, gone without a trace. Leap, Iger love. Sounds like he's on the right track to me. Iger holds her silence, but concedes the point with a small nod. On the screen, Winters pauses. He looks like he's working up to something. Finally he speaks. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This has got to be Fauerswing, all of it. Adrian was right about her. She's still alive, and she's out of the SOX. She's covering her tracks, working the shadows, preparing to rise again. And that means that I have to find you, Adrian, for everyone's sake. Thankfully, I've got a lead. For the first time in 2 decades, I've got a solid goddamn lead. I've backtraced all of the Matrix notes that Hellbor was looking into, back before she got cooked. Whoever's been purging the Matrix didn't think about that, and I found that she'd turn up. Winter stabs a few keys on the keyboard, and an image expands to fill the screen of his monitor. A satellite photo of rural landscape, annotated with GPS data, a set of map coordinates. So now I got a target, a place to start digging, the Horfeld Manor, conveniently located on an isolated stretch of countryside, miles away from Pyring Ice. Matrix records indicate that some sort of data vault exists beneath the estate, so that's what I need to get into. And this is where we come in. As if on cue, a familiar image winks onto the monitor to Winter's left, Monica. I think I'm gonna tap Schaefer for this job. She's got the skills to bypass whatever security they're running out there, and she's gullible enough to take the job in the first place. I'll feed her some line about Flux State security, and she'll eat it up with a spoon. I warned her. Amsel's voice is choked with rage. I warned her. On the display, Winter's mouth parts into a broad grin. Time to put plans into motion. By this time tomorrow night, I should have the information that I need. And on the off chance that Schaefer gets taken out, well, that'll tell me something too. Can't make an omelette and all that. Until then. Play track 6. When you play the 6th track, a small video window appears. You recognize the scene in the window. You're looking at the tattered drapes and nicotine-stained wallpaper of Winter's hotel room at Das Kessel House. The timestamp on the video reads 20:54:11:10. There's a blur motion, and the haggard form of Green Winters lumbers into frame. Suspicions confirmed. Schaefer is dead. Christ. Winter reaches a shaking hand off camera. A moment later, it returns, clutched a heap plastic drinking glass. He gulps something down, wipes his mouth with the back of his hand, and takes a deep breath. Okay. Back up. Slow down. Start from the beginning. Winters closes his eyes and makes a visible effort to calm himself. When he speaks again, his voice is steady. Got a call from a contact in Kraus Bazaar. Schaefer killed on the estate run. Matrix security at the estate cooked her brain. Considering Schaefer's skill and experience, on-site IC must have been extreme. Even by Berlin standards, security of that kind costs money, real money. Given the evidence uncovered so far, corporate involvement unlikely. The connection to Firewing is too strong. So let's come right out and say it. The dragon is what we're dealing with here. And the smart money says that she's coming for me next. Well, I won't go down without a fight. I've still got my contacts, still got my connections. And the flux state can be a hell of a weapon for a man who knows how to manipulate it. Winters takes another long pull from his glass, grimaces and swallows. Time for me to make my play. Ghost stories or no, missing deckers or no. I've got to jack into the Matrix and start pulling strings. The countermeasures that I installed earlier should be more than enough to keep me safe for the 20 minutes I'll be in there. Winters drains the rest of the glass, then tosses it back over his shoulder. A moment later, you hear a dull clattering sound of hard plastic on linoleum. Schaefer's death was tragic. She was a staunch supporter of the F-state, but still, all things considered. Winters fishes for something off-screen. A moment later, his hand reappears, clutching a data jack cable. Better her than me. He plugs the cable into his head, and the screen cuts to static. Eject the DVD. As your fingers near the eject button, a black screen cuts in over the static. A moment later, Green Winter's haggard face appears. If you're watching this, then I guess that they caught up to me. They will be after you too now. Blitz whispers into your ear again, more harshly this time. What the hell is this? Why didn't you warn me about this before I came here? Whisper back, not now, Blitz. Whoever you are, whatever you think you're after, you need to find Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Not because he's my brother, because if Fauschwing is rising again, he's the only one who can stop her. You've seen what happens to people who get too close to this. I'm dead, and dozens of other people have died. You'll be next unless you can find Adrian. The screen cuts back to static. The message is over. The DVD tray slides out of the reader. The room goes quiet as everyone struggles to process what they've just seen on the DVD. Finally, Dietrich breaks the silence. A dragon, son of a bitch. Green Winter set us up against the dragon. The Firewing. Amsel's voice is thick with dread. She lives. I'm really starting to regret the fact that I didn't just stay at the hotel. Iger ignores him. Wait a second. We don't know for certain. Dietrich lays a hand on Iger's shoulder. The evidence seemed pretty convincing to me, love. I'll even take it a step further. I think that secret facility that it was stumbled into was her lair. The room falls silent. Iger and Glory exchange glances. After a moment, Dietrich continues. Just think about it. The Decker that Winters got those coordinates from was posting about Fauschwing. Then she was killed by that same orcish bastard that attacked us after Monica died. That's a direct link between the dragon, the scarred orc, and the Harfield Manor. And then Winters was killed by the same thing that killed Monica. Exactly. My gut tells me that the dragon is down there, Dystopia, someplace far beneath the surface. I think that we knocked on the door to her lair without even knowing it. And I think that given what we've seen, the dragon will do whatever it takes to keep us quiet about it. Okay, going on assumption that there is a dragon and that she will come after us, what do you propose that we do about it? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to follow Winter's advice. We're going to find Vauclair. Yes, Dystopia's right. Finding Dr. Vauclair should be our priority. If we're going up against the dragon, we need to find ourselves a dragon slayer. Winter spent 20 years searching for Vauclair, and he got him nowhere. How do you propose that we find him? With the help of an information broker. I'll go talk to Alto then. For this, no. While Herr Buruk-Gassi is very capable, a task of this magnitude is beyond him. We need to make contact with the premier information broker in Berlin. We need to talk to Alice. Blitz scoffs at Amsel. Alice, best of luck, and I hope that you're rich. Amsel raises an eyebrow. For this, rich enough, even if only just. Who is this Alice? The most prominent figure in Berlin's shadow community. Ex-Schockwellenreiter. She provides information retrieval services for the F-state. Amsel turns to the computer console behind him and runs his finger over a virtual keyboard. The machine begins to hum. If Winters was right, if Vauclair is still alive, she can help us find him. The console spits out a stick of black plastic. Amsel plucks it from the computer and hands it to you. Here, your key to speak with Alice. A cred stick. Amsel nods. An encoded credit stick, yes. 10,000 yen. Alice will not show her face for less. This represents the last of my personal savings, Desopia. Make this meeting count. Where do I need to go? Take the U-Bahn to Altstadt Spandau. There you will find a connecting tube that the locals refer to as the rabbit hole. You will find a method of contacting Alice there. Don't call it that in front of her, though. Word on the street is that she hates it. Please hurry. While you're out, I will work on acquiring new contracts for the team. Alice is the best there is at what she does, and her services carry a price tag to match. Hyper. The only active console in this derelict span of U-Bahn platform is an old video arcade machine. The CRT monitor set into the machine's cabinet glows invitingly. Cheerful pixelated graphics swirl and dance on the screen. Investigate the machine. At the base of the controller's panel, you find a cleverly hidden input port. The port is shrouded in black plastic, and it appears to be the approximate shape of a typical cred stick. Amsel's encoded cred stick. Insert Amsel's down payment into the machine. Internal motors grip the cred stick and pull it into the machine. It disappears into the port, and the screen goes black. Moments later, a video image fills the screen. The picture is dark and grainy, a far cry from the bright, colorful sprites that previously inhabited the display. On the screen is a dimly lit office. The place looks like it was pulled straight from an old detective movie, from the Venetian blinds on the windows to the great swaths of shadow that paints the walls black. Center stage, sitting behind a large mahogany desk, is the silhouette of an impressive-looking woman in a charcoal grey suit. The tip of a cigarette glows cherry red in the shadows. She leans forward into the light, and you catch your first glimpse of Alice. Her face is all hard planes and sculpted angles, with high cheekbones and almond eyes. Her lips are painted, frigid blue, but the look in her eyes is even colder. A head of lustrous black hair is interspersed with flowing streams of cyan light. Alice exhales a plume of smoke, then tips her cigarette into a nearby ashtray. She fixes her eyes on you, and her lips curl into a humorless smile. We're on your dime, friend. Tell me what you're looking for. I need you to find someone for me. Dr. Adrian Vauclair. She raises an eyebrow. The Dragon Slayer. Interesting. He's been missing for a long time. Yes, he is. The question is, can you find him? She looks you in the eye, and a smile disappears. Her voice is all business. If he's out there somewhere, I'll find him for you. He could be living under an assumed name in California Free State, and I'll still track him down. And if he's not alive, I'll tell you where you can find his corpse. Speaking of corpses, Alice, I think that I might know who you really are. Oh, Alice leans towards you. Her smile spreads into a predatory grin. Do tell. There was a member of Echo Mirage named Alice Hefner. She died back in 2029, fighting the crash virus. Rumor has it she still exists in the Matrix, still calls herself Alice too. An interesting theory, but I fear that my price to confirm or deny it would fall well outside of your price range. Alice leans back in her chair. For now, let's get back to the business at hand. Let's. Alice steeples her fingers. All right, here's how this is going to work. When you give me the go-ahead, I'm going to start gathering information for you. Once I've finished, you're going to bring me a cred stick encoded with an encryption key that I'll provide you. That cred stick will have 50,000 yen on it. When I get my cred stick, you get your information. This is the deal. Take it or leave it. All right, Alright, you got a deal. Okay, but remember, you say go, and I go. From that point, you're on the hook to pay me my fee. No turning back, no refunds, so we're square on this. Yeah, we're square. Good, I'll be in touch. The screen goes black. Moments later, the machine reboots. The colorful sprites that you saw when you first approached the arcade cabinet returns. There's nothing more to see here. Alice is gone. Yeah, let's get to work then. Dystopia, did you make contact with Alex? Yes, I did. She accepted your payment, and I ordered the search for the information we need. Very good. I can't imagine that this will be cheap. What was Alice's stated price? You're right on that account. 50,000 yen. He shrugs. It is about as I had expected. Thankfully, we are prepared for this. I have established contact with a number of new clients. You can find information on the jobs logged in your computer, in your mission computer. One jobs file is on there already. While you're working to earn Alice's fee, I will continue to dig for clues about Fauersring. If she is, in fact, roosting over under the Harfield Manor, then there must be some evidence to support that fact. A dragon is a large thing to hide, after all. Yeah, I know. It's like zero voice acting and shit, so it's quite a lot of reading. I'm trying to like skip the least interesting shit so I don't have to read it, but yeah. Be careful, Porn. Remember what happened to Monica. I will never forget. Don't worry, Dystopia. I'm going to conduct my investigation the old-fashioned way. Through contacts and dedication and careful observation. I will not jack into the Matrix until this entire sorry episode is finished. That's probably wise. Speaking of doing things the old-fashioned way, Malit is working to recover information off of those other DVDs. It's a painstaking process, and it will not be quick, but she is optimistic that she will be successful in time. Finally, I've been checking up on our friend that worked with the skin grafts. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I'll keep you appraised as the situation develops. Sounds good, Paul. I'll go check up on those jobs. One last thing before you go, Dystopia. Samuel Beckenbauer wanted me to pass a message to you. Do you know him? The orc who runs the shelter across the way. Yeah, we met. Oh well, he has a job for you. He wouldn't discuss it with me, but he promised that it would prove worthy of your time. Check your inbox for new messages. Commissioning your services. Withheld to Dystopia. We would like to arrange a meeting between you and one of our representatives. You will find him at the cafe nearby. His name is Luca Duer. He will be expecting you. Come along. Form a cleanup job. Ansel Face wings onto the screen. Here you will find the complete transcripts of my conversation with Herr Fuchs, a potential client. The job seems to be relatively straightforward, and the payout is reasonable. One word of caution before you proceed. There are aspects of this run that you might find morally troubling, but sure to read and understand the specifics of the job before accepting. If you do accept, you will be expected to carry out the requirement of the job in full. After reading the transcripts, you may choose whether or not to accept the job. If you respond in the affirmative, our client will be notified, and I will make all necessary preparations for the run. Guest, Herr Ansel. Ansel, yes, I am here. To whom am I speaking? You may call me Herr Fox. Very well. Please describe the work that you would like to have done. Straight to the point, I like that. Very well. I would like to retain your team's services to clean up a mess. Go on. My employers dispatched a team of operatives to conduct a quiet operation at a local Shearing Pharma AG lab. Unfortunately, they botched the job. The team was eliminated, but we have reliable information that one of the operatives had been taken captive. If this rogue agent were to spill information leading back to his employers, it could lead to a corporate war. A great many lives could be lost. My employer would like nothing more than to prevent such a tragic turn of events. Ah, I see, and you wish to retain my team's services to tie up the loose end. Exactly. The captive operative is a rigger by the name of Thorwald Enstad. We need him neutralized before he can inform on us to his captors. As Enstad and his team have already put the facility on high alert, stealth will not be an option. Your team will need to shoot its way in, eliminate Enstad, and exit the facility. A straightforward enough task, and well within my team's capabilities. What are you offering in terms of pay? 15,000. This offer is non-negotiable. Very well, I will pass the offer on to my team. Very good. Good day, Herr Amson. The text field disappears. A single line of text pops onto the center of the screen, taking its place. Accept job. Accept the job. Run accepted. Client notification sent. Humanist data steal. Amsel's face appears on screen. Samuel Beckenbauer has approached me with an offer of work. Apparently, an associate of his has learned some disturbing details regarding the Berlin chapter of the Humanist Polyclub. He would like to contract your team to investigate these rumors. Beckenbauer was unwilling to discuss the specifics of the job in your absence. He has requested that you speak with him in person at your earliest convenience. Hello again, my friend. What can I do for you? I heard you wanted to talk about a job. One sec. Yes, I do. Thank you for coming so promptly. He takes a deep breath, slowly releases it, and looks you in the eye. Tell me, what do you know about the Humanist Polyclub? Not a lot. I don't pay much attention to politics. Humanist may call itself a polyclub, but its goals are anything but political. The organization's true objective is to spread the fear and hatred of the meta-human races. Humanist's bloody rhetoric helped to instigate the Night of Rage. Keep talking. He nods. Yesterday, I overheard one of my assistants talking on his comms. He was yelling, clearly agitated. I questioned him, and he confided in me. What he told me made my blood run cold. Let me guess where this is going. Humanist is planning something, an attack of some kind. He nods. Yes, I believe so. The Berlin chapter of Humanist has arranged to acquire a large shipment of an extremely hazardous chemical. Their leader, Volker Stahl, is a vicious ideologue. It goes without saying that whatever he intends to do, it won't be good for us. I want you to infiltrate the smuggling operation that is delivering the shipment. Once you arrive at the Humanist compound, you will find out what they're planning to do with the chemical and put a stop to it. Let's talk compensation. What does this gig pay? I have contacted sister organizations across Berlin and taken up a collection. Between us, we have raised 22,000 yen as a payment. I trust that this will be sufficient. I'll do it, count me in. He nods. Excellent. I am relieved. I will make the arrangement for your meeting with the smugglers. Their leader is an elf who calls himself Maxim. Take the U-Bahn to Schattennest and you will find him waiting there. Best of luck to you, Dystopia, and good hunting. Know that you are doing a great thing for the meta-humans of Berlin. Your efforts will not go unrecognized. lone figure stands at the U-Bahn station. Dietrich. He raises a bottle at your approach, then tosses it away. Figured I'd run into you here, boss. Wanted to be sure that I caught you before you headed off. He takes a deep breath, then slowly releases it, looking you and I. Dystopia, we need to talk about this Humanis gig. Go ahead, Dietrich, I'm listening. Well, I've got history with Humanis. I fought them back in 39, during the Night of Rage. Hell of a thing that was. I remember the terror, the senseless violence, the murdered children. I remember this little dwarf boy. They stuffed his body in the gutter, Dystopia. I can still see his face, all bruised and broken. To this day, it makes my blood boil. Anyway, long story short, we beat them. Berlin's punks and anarchists all came together, and we stomped the living dreck out of those racist pigs. A lot of good people died that night, but we put down some of the bad ones too. Let me guess, you want to come on the Humanis run so that you can finish the job. That's part of it, sure, but it's not the whole story. I don't just want to come on this run, boss. I have to come. It's my nephew, Alexander. He's signed on with Humanis, driven to it by his worthless sack of a dad, no doubt. I'll take it that his father, your brother, is a Humanis member too. Now, that'll take a level of conviction, a quality that he thoroughly lacks. My best guess is that he's treating Humanis as a boarding school. They feed and house the recruits, and that's money that he'd rather spend on himself. So he dumped his boy off on them, never mind the fact that they're fascist swine. Dietrich looks you in the eye. I've gotta get Alexander out of there, Dystopia, before it's too late. Those monsters are experts at warping young minds. It's how their disgusting ideology propagates. So I'm asking you as a personal favor to let me come along on the run. I have to get into that compound, Dystopia. I have to find Alexander. I have to turn him around before those animals make him do something unforgivable. Of course, Dietrich, I wouldn't keep you from something like this. Thanks, boss. Never doubted you'd bring me, of course. You're too good a man for that, but it's good to hear it all the same. Assemble the team and travel to the Chaton Nest to infiltrate the Humanis Polyclub compound. In addition to your team, your fixer has access to a small network of mercenaries in the Berlin area. These runners appear below your core team on the runner selection screen and can be hired on a mission-to-mission basis. As you complete missions, both your team members and the available mercenaries will periodically gain access to new equipment and abilities. Any new items, spells, weapons, and weapon abilities that the runner gains will automatically be available for use the next time you take them on a mission. It's a lot cheaper to hire in this game. I thought she was a rigger. Intelligence 4, biotech, charisma, body, willpower. No, okay. Weapons specialist. Spellcasting, conjuring. Hey. Full flag. The U-Bahn rattles to a halt at the edge of Krausberg. You're only a few blocks away from the shuttle nest. The keys that Maxim and his smugglers call home. According to Samuel, they should be expecting them. Yes, I can spend some karma. Look, boss, I just want to thank you for bringing me along on this one. It means a lot. Don't sweat it, even Shadowrunners have families. He nods. Alexander, he's a good kid, you know. If I had been there for him, if I hadn't run off to Berlin, left him with his worthless sack of a dead, he'd never have fallen in with those humanist pigs in the first place. The expression on Dietrich's face softens, and he claps you on the shoulder. Let's go find my nephew, and let's crack all the humanist skulls we can along the way. The fuckers have it coming in more ways than I can count. Guten Tag, what can I get you? That depends, what do you have? Searching the dead drop, you find a package with the telltale markings of the Schockenwellen writer. Re Humanis. This is an open request for information on current and past donors to Humanis Polyclub, identifying information such as home addresses and photographs if preferred. The presence of this hate group and its supporters will no longer be tolerated within our community. We will expose them to the harsh light of truth. The timely delivery of this information will be well rewarded. Freedom, equality, information, Schockenwellen writer. A rough-looking dwarf with a fire plug build holds out his hand as you approach. Well there, Beanpole. I don't know where you think you're heading, but you should turn around and go back the way you came. I got business on the other side of this barricade. One way or another, that's where I'm going. He stares at you, an appraising look in his eye. Well, you look like you can handle yourself, but still, I'm telling you, the people out there are bad news. There are gangs on the other side of this barricade who'd skin you alive as soon as look at you. Trust me, I've gone up against worse. He shakes his head. All right, fine. If that's really what you want, we won't try to stop you. He gestures to a troll standing behind him. Let him by, Sergei. I took your advice in making some tea. The figure at the center of the group shoots you an insolent glance. His fine elvish features match Samuel's description. This must be Maxim, your smuggler liaison. Well, well, if it isn't the muscle that Tuck promised us. Look who it is, everybody. The new hires have elected to grace us with their presence. Nice of you to join us. He glances at the PDA at his wrist, then looks back at you. When he speaks again, his voice is sharp and humorless. You're late, chummers. I'm here, that's all that matters. He lets out a theatrical sigh. Well, you come highly recommended, so I suppose I'll overlook it. As you already pointed out, we're running late. Shouldn't we get moving? Yes, of course, right you are. He slapped the side of a bulldog step van. A second van of the same design rumbles to life a few feet away. Pile in, people, and be ready. There's rough country between us and the meeting site. We might run into trouble along the way. 20 minutes into your trip, the van comes to a screeching halt. Maxim presses his face to the passenger window. From a mix of anger and dread on his face, you can tell that he doesn't like what he sees. Damn it, I knew this was gonna happen. I fucking knew it. He cranes his neck around to look you in the eye. Everybody pile out of the van and get ready. Dystopia, we're gonna need some muscle in a second. As you take your position outside the van, you hear a shrill voice bark out an order. A pair of portable gun turrets begins to self-calibrate in response. Sweeping your gaze over the gangers assembled before you, you identify the owner of the voice, a leathery woman with wild hair and a mirthless smile. She calls out again, her voice brimming with pride. Hello out there, welcome to Rambok territory. Maxim licks his lips, his eyes scanning over the gangers' hastily assembled roadblock. This keys belongs to Surf Turf, slag. Has for months. You'd better clear on out of our way before they show up and force you out. Surf Turf, those tunnel rats, they're ancient history. Go ahead and call them if you don't believe me. Her face twists into an ugly smile. Scream as loud as you want. They won't hear you. We buried them last week. Maxim's expression turns stony, but his voice remains calm. Congratulations on your victory. You must have taken some losses in the fight, though. I'm betting you're not at 100%. Why don't you let us cross the bridge in peace? There's no need for any bloodshed today. You know what? You're absolutely right. We don't need a fight. You just pay us a small toll, and we'll be more than happy to let you cross our bridge. I'm thinking, say, 500 yen per van. Her voice turns cold. Otherwise, you'd better find another way to get where you're going. Because this bridge is ours, and nobody crosses without paying the toll. Nobody. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this does need to get violent. Maxim turns to you. Get ready to ventilate these assholes. Dystopia, we got a schedule to keep. Look, let's be smart about this. Nobody wants a firefight today. Good, that's a real good idea, pal. The ganger boss jeers at Maxim. See, that your muscle is smarter than you are. You should put him in charge. Maxim wheels around to face you, his face a mask of fury. His voice explodes out of a harsh whisper. Quiet the fuck down. You don't speak for me, and you don't speak for this organization. You're right, it's your show. My mistake. You're goddamn right. It is. Now you're gonna help us take these punks down, or not. Help the smugglers. Yeah, we got you covered. He nods and draws his weapon. Good. Maxim's voice comes out in a roar. Take him down, boys. Open fire. Point blank miss with that fireball. Good job. Kaboom. cast Nerve Bolt. Fuck, you missed there. Yeah, it's a pretty light XCOM, but yeah, tactical turn-based combat. It's basically just Fallout 1 and 2. Okay, back. Okay. Hey, stop grenading me. Max alive. Maxim wipes his face with a handkerchief. The cloth comes away wet with blood-streaked sweat. Well, that was unpleasant. All a part of the job, though, eh? You said it. I gotta admit, Dystopia, this attack has made me nervous. We're running late. We're low on ammo, and there's no time to call for reinforcements. Whichever way you slice it, we won't be going into this meet at our best. When we roll up at the meeting site, be ready. We may need the element of surprise if negotiations go south. Agreed, that ambush was more than a little convenient. He nods. Couldn't have said it better myself. The courtyard of the Humanis compound is strangely quiet. The only activity that you notice is the clatter of the mechanical gates as they rumble shut behind the vans. The bulldog rolls to a stop. You step out alongside Maxim and the rest of the smugglers. There are crates here, a lot of crates, all scattered in various stages of disorganization. It looks as though your delivery is just one of many that this branch of Humanis has received. The smugglers unload the cargo from their vans with practiced efficiency. The whole operation feels polished and professional, but you can tell that Maxim is nervous. You see it in his eyes. The smugglers finish unloading the last of the crates, then take up position around the van. Minutes pass, nobody comes to meet you. No welcoming party. Maxim shakes his head. This isn't a good sign. It's almost as if they didn't expect us to make it here. He nods. My thoughts exactly. This puts us in a bad spot, Dystopia. I'm not sure what our next step is. Your next stop is to sit out here. Mine is to go inside. I've got a job to do. His eyes widen. You're not hired muscle at all, are you? You're a shadow runner, here on a job. That's right, but there's no reason why I can't help you out while I'm doing it. You're serious, aren't you? You're really going in there. He takes a step back. Well, be my guest. I won't get in your way. When you get back out, if you make it back, we'll be out here waiting for you. There's a warning label plastered on the side of this container. Judging by the amount of small print on the label, whatever is being stored in here is extremely bad news. Take a closer look at the label. Warning, highly dangerous chemical agent. Do not take internally. Avoid contact with skin, eyes, mouth, and clothing. Increases aggression and reduces impulse control when inhaled. Avoid breathing fumes or vapor. Important, do not proceed unless material safety data sheet has been read and understood. Yeah, that seems like good news. The Humanis compound smells like a locker room and doesn't look much better. Calling the building run down would be an understatement. Paint is peeling off of the cheap Duraplast walls, and the tiles on the floor are mired with decades worth of grime. It's an old, ugly place, perfectly suited to the old, ugly ideology being practiced here. You enter the compound. The information that Samuel Beckenbauer sent you here to find lies somewhere ahead. Yes, they're all locked. This console consists of a text entry field and virtual keypad. Written along the top of the screen is an imposing font, is the word Armory. There's a handwritten note sitting on the table. Hey Keppel, you come highly recommended. Anyone who did what you did to those elves will go far around here. You can hit the kitchen anytime, but otherwise stay close unless otherwise told. Your locker code is 2619, locker 3. I guess we might as well push on and get the other codes as well. The turret is powered down. Purge the meta-humans. Nice guys, ain't they? The Humanist Polyclub logo fills the majority of the screen on this panel. A welcome message, written in cartoonishly aggressive font, appears below. Enter the code. Enter the door code. The file cabinet is crammed full of humanist propaganda. Read the first pamphlet. Human, you work hard, you play fair, and still, you can't get ahead. But have you ever wondered why? The answer is simple. The elf is using the orc and the troll as muscle against you. Think about it. When you turn on your tridio after a hard day's work, who do you see? The pampered elf, basking in the lap of luxury, squandering the money that you could be using to feed your children. When you walk through a dark alley on your way home from the market, what do you fear? The mongrel orc and the savage troll, lying in wait to rob you of your hard-earned gains. The elf, the orc, the troll, all are parasite, leeching away at your prosperity and happiness. It's time to wake up and do something about it. So what are you going to do, human? Yeah, that's some disgusting bullshit. The Humanist Polyclub logo fills the majority of the screen of this terminal. A welcome message written in a cartoonishly aggressive font appears below. Please log in to begin. Hack the terminal. After a few minutes of sifting through account sheets, you find that what you're looking for, a complete donor list for the Berlin chapter of the Humanists. Download the list. You download the list to your PDA. There are quite a few well-known names on here, including a billionaire philanthropist and a children's tridio show host. Hack the terminal. A list of newest batch of Humanist recruits. Scroll onto the screen. Make sure that they get assigned to their bunks in alphanumerical order this time, said. I kept losing track of who was who in the last batch. As always, I'm changing the code for my office. The new code is Pride. Of course it is. Hack the terminal. Operations account information downloaded. You gain access to a list of Humanist safe houses. Worth some yen in the right hands. Are you just standing there? Are you stuck? $26.90. There's a note inside. Recruit Keppel, your enthusiasm at the rally was more than commendable. Those Trog bastards really got what was coming to them. Volker wants to see you right away. His personal code is Pride. Shall is with no one. Is there a name on this? Just a 2. 2114. 2114. 1106. 1106. 1476. 1476. That was 4176. 1409. Inside you find a note. Alexander, you have seemed less than enthusiastic in our education sessions. Please understand that we are not a shelter. We are a factory. A factory that refines the dross of society, people like you, into strong, pure warriors for humanity. In the future, see that you are on time and well rested. If you drop the ball again, we're going to have a little talk about your future in the organization. Dietrich snatches the note out of your hand. I knew it. I knew that Alex wouldn't buy into their bullshit. He reads the note over again, his lips moving with the syllables. Come on, boss. He's still here somewhere. There's still time. Strewn among the pile of their clothes, you find a cred stick. Inside you find a note. Friedrich, I'm pleased with how well you are doing. To show my growing trust in you, I'm giving you a new assignment in addition to your training duties. Beginning tomorrow, I would like you to tidy the armory. The access code is purity. See to that you don't forget it. Tomorrow evening, I will expect to see a full inventory of the weapons in our arsenal by nightfall. With it, you will deliver me a requisition order for the weapons of your choosing. Your pick, my boy. I leave it up to you. Congratulations, Friedrich. This honor is well deserved. It's empty. Well, okay. Purity. Lots of grenades. Enter the door code. What's it? Honor. Nope. Fuck was it then? Pride. Yeah, right. Operation False Flag, planning report. A stocky man in a military surplus jacket enters the room. He is flanked on either side by a pair of young women. Their faces are masked by white kerchiefs, and each of them carries an unholstered pistol. Lower your weapons, girls. We have a guest. The soldiers exchange glances, then lower their sidearms. They look at you, their stares full of hatred and bile. There, that's better. His neutral expression curls into a malevolent grin. I've shown you hospitality, stranger. Now it's time for you to return the favor. So tell me, why you're here. here to shut you down, Stahl. Honk? Yes, indeed, fucking honk. There's like a sketchy crossing outside of my window, and they almost run over each other there every day. I'm here to shut you down, Stahl. Confronting me in person was a bad move, by the way. He visibly struggles to keep his cool. You got balls, strangers, I give you that. No brains, though. It takes a special kind of fool to threaten me in my own compound. There's been a lot of cargo moving through here. Planning something big, Volker. He offers you a broad smile. It is going to be glorious. That gas that you hauled in for us is going to prove every word that we've been saying. The Trogs, the Halfers, the goddamn dandelion eaters. One whiff of this stuff and they're going to tear each other apart. And then they'll spill into a good human neighborhood where we'll be waiting to stop them. You just watch and wait, traitor. Stahl gives you a broad grin. It'll be a bloodbath. You're going to drive a bunch of meta-humans crazy in order to prove that meta-humans are crazy. You're pathetic, Stahl. The smile fades from his face. I've heard just about enough insolence from you. I might just have my men teach you some manners. The sound of hurried footsteps echo down the hallway behind you. The humanist leader smiles, and as luck have it, here they come now. Dietrich's eyes go wide. He takes a step towards the nearest humanist gunman. Alexander! The youth blinks in surprise. He half lowers his weapons. Uncle Dietrich? Shoot him, Alexander. This man is an intruder and a traitor. Come here to do us harm. If you're gonna put a shell in someone, put it in Stahl. He's a monster, Alex. I know that you can see that. The humanist gunmen flanking Stahl exchange uncertain glances. One begins to raise her pistol, but hurriedly lowers it when the humanist leader steps forward. Stahl fixes Alexander with a stern gaze. You swore an oath to us, Alexander. You will be a man, and keep it. Aye. Listen to Dietrich, Alexander. He's a good man. Is he? Where the hell have you been when my dad used to beat the shit out of me? Where was he when I got tossed out of the streets? I didn't know, Alex. By the time I found out, the damage had already been done. Alexander, you will listen to me and obey your oath. I don't know. I don't know what to do. If you can't see your man is bullshit, you don't deserve to live. Yeah, that's a bit much. It's If you side with Humanis, I'm going to have to kill you. I don't want to, but I will. Oh, that's... Dieter don't like that. It's up to you, Alex, but you have to make a choice. If you betray your kind to join these metal lovers, we will put you down, boy. You hear that? We will kill you. Shakily, Alexander raises his rifle, levels it at Dietrich's head. Uncle Dietrich, wait for Alexander to act. The barrel of the rifle trembles in Alexander's arms. I'm sorry. Dietrich locks eyes with his nephew. His voice is low and soft. Do what you have to do, Alex. It's your choice. Do it, you stupid boy. Do it. Without a word, Alexander wheels around and points the rifle at Stahl. The humanist leader recoils in alarm. Alexander levels the weapon, and all hell breaks loose. Yeah, funnel into this corridor. Kinda hurting here. Well, that's a miss if I ever saw one. Damn it! Miss you, fucker. Did I lose control already? Great success. Make it to... Oh, I can't use it, okay. Oh. quite a lot of these fuckers. I thought if I went in and hacked the turrets would like cut them to shreds, but the turrets were pretty shit. Armory door, but I've already unlocked the armory, for fuck's sake.
Someone left for it. Oh, there's a bunch of guys there.
Let's go. Hey, Mr. Grenades. Jesus Christ. Grenades. Yeah, hello. Let's go game. Here we go. Yes, I thought it was gonna not load. You burst through the door to Humani's compound and into the crisp night air. You're not far from your extraction point. Time to go. Yeah, the smugglers are helping. That's good. Ouch. Thank Christ, that's over with. You okay, Alexander? The young man looks shell-shocked. He holds his rifle clenched tight in his trembling hands. Yeah, Uncle Dietrich, I'm okay. But those guys, I knew them. One of them was my bunkmate. I killed him. Couldn't be helped. If you hadn't, he'd have killed you. Believe it. We're gonna take you away from here, back to the Krauss Bazaar. Get you the help that you need. Yeah, okay, Uncle, okay. You should be. When the Dragon Slayer is pleased, he tends to be generous with his rewards, he grins. I can feel the power coursing through me. Boss, I don't know what form it'll take yet, but it's there, and soon enough I'll be able to use it. I don't mean to break this up, but we need to get moving. Kid, you're with us. The rest of you, pile into that other van. You can continue having your moment when we get back to Shattered Nest. Urban ride home feels especially comforting today. The Berlin chapter of the Humanist Poly Club has suffered a terrible blow, and you're the one who dealt it. Volker Stahl's plan to incite a wave of bloody violence across Berlin has been derailed. It isn't often that a Shadowrunner gets to prevent an atrocity on the job. Your PDA rings, and the face of your fixer, Paul Amsel, appears on screen. Dystopia, I have new information to discuss about the estate. Please come as soon as you can. Hello again, my friend. What can I do for you? I've uncovered what Humanis is up to. You'll find the details on this datapad. Beckenbauer eyes the plans on the datapad and nods grimly. This fits with Humanis' established pattern of behavior, horrific and vile. According to this datapad, Humanis compounds all over Berlin have received similar shipments. They are planning to deploy the gas tomorrow morning. He exhales sharply, then nods again. I have a feeling that the Flux State will have a thing or two to say about that. Stahl has overstepped his bounds. His hubris will be his undoing. You mark my words. Within the next few hours, the Humanist Poly Club is going to take a hammering that will make the Night of Rage look like a peace rally. I owe you a great deal, Dystopia. We all do. I will write your payment to the account number that Ansel provided. Pleasure doing business with you. Can I use the payphone over here, or what? Deliver the Humanist donor list. The machine accepts the data, upload, and only a few moments later, a certified cred stick is spat out of the coin slot. Okay, that's gonna be it for tonight, but thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you guys later. Good night.